Be sure to check out our unboxing build and universal card review for Magore's Fiends.
Stocking bits.
Welcome back, Shadespire Maniacs. I'm Robbie B, and today we are breaking us down some Shadespire. We got two new expansions this week. If you haven't checked out the other video for the Forest Riders, the new Stormcast expansion as well, make sure you check that one out, or we do the same thing that we're going to do in this video, except for they're blue. So $30 expansion from Games Workshop. The sleeves were delayed. They'll be out next week. $8 for their sleeves. If you want the red dice, well, hey, red dice are already out. They came out when the set was released about this time-ish last year. So there should be relatively easy to find as far as that goes. Now this box is going to have 4 fighters, including Puppy Dog, Mr. Corn Dog right there. And wow, these guys seem... Don't tell Garuk I said this, or Garuk, or whatever his name is. These guys seem more fun than that expansion. I kind of like how Games Workshop kind of tic-tacked it. They took the Stormcast, right off the bat, the big, hammer and board, like one-hit wonders with those guys, and put them opposite of kind of the looser kind of Reavers. And then now we've got the hard-hitting, like Bloodbound type dudes coming out as an expansion, opposite the little lighter kind of ranger-ish Forest Riders. So I dig the balance mechanic here so far. If you think about it, it's almost like they planned it. So each one of these sets is going to come with some figures, some instructions, and then your 2 60 card decks, which are going to contain 60, I think, faction specific and 60 generic, from power cards to objectives, of course, upgrades and ploys. Potato. So we're gonna go over the generic ones, the universal ones that anybody can take, and of course the character cards, but not so much the faction specific ones, because if you're already here looking at this and thinking about buying these guys, you're already gonna pick them up, and it's just gonna be a pre-assigned meta. We don't need to spend time on that and show you literally everything in this. This is just an unbox and build card review. So that's what we're gonna stick to. So right off the bat, it looks like just with the Forest Riders, the feet are separate so far for the humans, so you'll be able to paint up your bases separately if you want to airbrush them and do some like lava type deals. It's the ETB computer slice, the ETB standing for easy to build kind of computer slice here, and it really gives a lot of depth and kind of character to these models, and while hiding the mold lines from the part. We saw the Stormcast ones, the mold lines on the flats of the shoulder pads that don't have detail a little exposed. But these guys don't look like, well, we might right here have some on that shoulder pad, but generally they hide it pretty well. And then here on the Corn Puppy, it almost looks like there's going to be flat areas as well, but they try to hide it as well as they can up here on the spines and down the tail. But we'll find out. Oh, and it looks like part of his feet don't attach or are attached to the base, so we're gonna have to be careful with that. But fortunately, when it comes to webbing, might not be that big of a deal in any the toenails paint wise, if you want to lava out the base or something like that. So as far as detail goes, let's check it out. So we've got 2 sprues here, and they're looking pretty fresh. Don't see anything too crazy about either of these right off the bat. So let's see, great detail, all sorts of skulls in here. And see, this is better detail than those bases that Games Workshop put out a while back, like the big packs of bases for $35. Now granted, the character ones got a little bit better, but this detail on here is pretty incredible. I would love to get a $35 set of this quality level of depth and detail bases right here for sure. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if it's economical for them, but I feel like if you can do it on these guys, they might be able to treat us to that in the future, because when it comes, and of course I don't have any to show you, they would just really fell flat in my opinion, and I would definitely voice that opinion when they came out. I almost felt like the stuff on the box, not necessarily what came in the actual contents, but fast forward 2 years, I think they have gotten better going forward, so we're not going to harp on it at all. But look at all this great detail here that we have now. Little dots and everything, little warts. I don't know, demon warts. Don't lick the frog or the corn dog's demon warts right there. But man, great chainmail areas here. Got the corn punch spike thing. I don't know if it poses. And it looks like his face is 2 sides right there. I remember when these guys used to come in pewter and their thing was on the top. Like the worst to glue these guys together. But with all these flat areas, you could probably put a little extra cement on there. Probably okay. Great detail here. All look, they even have like rivets on the axe and everything. And over here, the face looks amazing. Crazy vampire corn guy. Alright, let's check this. So we've got the depth on the demon maw thing there in the middle, which looks like there's the esophagus and little little tonsils. Demon tonsils. Crazy horned head right there. Great looking bases. Great looking chainmail. Got a little bit of fur right there. Lots of flat areas to airbrush. And I can't really tell what the slice is going to be on the shoulder pad, so we'll find out when we put those together here in a minute. Swoosh! Several minutes later, we got our guys put together, and we'll zoom in a little bit. And I'll probably have to go do the cards, but as he arrives, they do come straight off the base right here. Very snug. The tolerances are great. I'm not gonna mess with it. Just to make this look realistic to you, it has to look super weird to me, and I might not pull it correctly, and then it would snap off, and that would just be embarrassing. And you don't want that. You don't want me to wreck my mini. I gotta paint these guys up. Gotta get them on the table. They look fun. All right. Anyways, as far as assembly goes, you can see on the flats of the shoulder pad right there, there was a little bit of issue. So again, we use the Tamiya extra thin cement. We put a little extra bead in there. We should be able to scrape it off and it'll be nice and flush. I don't know if G-Dub still makes plastic glue. I haven't looked at their hobby offerings in a while, besides their Citadel tools, which are pretty much bar none, hands down, some of the most superior stuff out there. They are pricey. You always get what you pay for. But man, I love their seam scraper and their super thin. These are great to use on this stuff because they just have a really I want to say soft spring here, but they really get in there and do a lot of work, and the seam scrapers are great for this too. But those two tools right there, I think are about 40 bucks, but they are well worth it. I find myself always going back to them time and time again, believe it or not. So this guy looking great. The bark, indeed, I kind of left it off loose so we could pull it because I can get, but kind of see where the gaps are going to be, like we pointed out in the instructions. No big deal. You might have to do a little touch up if you paint this separately, but having this available to be painted separately, I think is something that you should consider, just because of the fact that, you know, I realize Game Industry Workshop doesn't recognize the sovereign nation of airbrushing, but it does exist and it is a real thing, and it saves a lot of hobbyists a lot of time out there. So the ability to come in here and put some sick fades and do some crazy molten lava, or even make it look all ashy or something like that, really would you know, behoove a lot of hobbyists to do with both of these sets here. Now there is a split down the head right here. Again, you know, any of these flat areas along the spine, you can see where it looks still wet because we got a lot of extra glue in there that should be able to scrape down and make it nice and flush. The underbelly right here's got a little bit of a gap, but other than that, not too noticeable. I barely noticed the one in the collar right here. So overall, I think they did a great job hiding those seam lines for sure. And here, same thing, except for it kind of skirted, oops, hair alert, and went up the seam here, so you didn't have a problem with either of these shoulder pads. I think the slice is more around the neck area here, the gorget, and then down around where the hair is hiding. So very innovative design on this guy to hide the mold lines. And what I actually like too is, you couldn't see it in the picture, but see on the peg, there's like those two little notches, kind of like a chicken toe, we'll say. I don't even know, like a bird's foot. So that actually locks in because he's only got one point of attachment here. So chances are you might, you know, put a lot of stress on that particular area, but they did a solid, and they recognized that and put a little extra reinforcement there, which I can definitely appreciate. And then the last model goes together pretty well too. Don't have to worry about the shoulder pads or anything like that, because there's the exposed little spiky bits right coming on up, so you don't even have to worry about anything messing. A couple of bursts, but that's okay. We'll go back and give it a final once over before we give it some primer and start painting these guys up, because these are going to be fun. Lots of gold trim, lots of flat areas to fade some reds on. So you've probably already seen exactly how the characters are going to work in here. So we got Magore himself, Riptooth, Gartok, Flayed Skull, and Zarkus, the Blood-Sighted. So these guys don't hit hard, just like their counterparts there in the Reaver's Warband. But they do have special abilities that are worth noting, like you got Cleave over here, which does the Lord's work against the Stormcast. You got Knockback over here. You've got option of attacks right here, depending on what you want to do. And Gorefist also has that. Oh, it does have that reaction. So that's the guy with that punch. Where is it? Which kind of works kind of like it does in Age of Sigmar. During an attack action that targets the fighter and has failed, the fighter cannot be driven back, and you can make an attack action. It must target the attacker. Gorefist has a reaction too. During an attack action that targets this fighter and has failed, you can make an attack action. It must target the attacker. This fighter can also not be driven back. And the Riptooth also comes with claws and teeth. If you roll at least one crit on this attack, the action has cleave. Boom. So lots of opportunities for cleaves in this warband. This fighter cannot have upgrades, which are attack actions. Only defense kind of type stuff here, I guess. And when they inspire by having a successful attack, you're going to have extra movement on these guys. That's cool. Movement there. And rolling extra dice. The damage stays the same. Not too shabby. Let's see. Axe. Ravenous Axe does 3 damage. So when he does become inspired, it does 3 damage. So that's cool. These guys, again, seem a lot funner than their counterparts. Oh well, it happens. Alright, ploy time. Second Wind. I like this one. Choose a friendly fighter that made a charge action phase. In the next activation, they can be activated as if they had moved rather than charged. So that means wherever they are, they get to swing with their attacks now, just in the next activation. Because remember, charge is an action, or is a forbids you from being activated again. Contains a charge for an attack and a move action, which you can't duplicate unless you have a ploy or something like that. It specifically says attack again or move again or something like that. Specifically, it has to name it according to the FAQ. Flickering Step. Roll 8 dice. Choose a friendly fighter and push them up to a number of hexes equal to the crits rolled. Obviously, it's a d6, so averages are here. You're going to get 1. But hey, you never know. Grapple reaction. Play this after an adjacent enemy fighter makes an attack action that drives a friendly fighter back. Push the attacker into the hex the friendly fighter was driven back from. So, hey, go nowhere. Get over here. It brings them with you so you can hopefully attack more and give them the wicked bad beatdown they need. Invisible walls. All fighters' movement characteristics are reduced to 1 for the next activation. Oof. Savage to play against somebody like the dwarfs, or even anybody really that thinks they're getting across the board. But we've seen with the other set and the Farstriders, there are some movement buffs in there as well. Mischievous Spirits. Taking in turns with your opponent, starting with you and going clockwise. Move each objective 1 hex. Objectives cannot be moved into a hex that already contains an objective. So it's like kind of like an earthquake, but for objectives. That's kind of savage. Very cool. And it doesn't matter if somebody's on it or not. You are not getting scored. So another kind of anti-movement, but yet provides the ability to keep people from popping off supremacy or something like that. My turn. Play this after an attack action or ploy damages a friendly fighter. Push them up to 1 hex and make an attack action with them. Very cool. I can see that going in a lot of decks. Painted Vitality. Remove 1 wound token from a fighter who has at least 1 wound token. So kind of like an elixir, but it's not an upgrade. Or the healing potion. Hidden Pass. Move a friendly fighter that hasn't made a move action phase and is in edge hex. Place them on any other edge hex. They are considered to have made a move action. So it's like the old 80s video games where you go out at the bottom and you come up on the top right. That is going to see a lot of play right there. That's like a free 10-8 hex movement. That's crazy. Reflected Injury. Choose a friendly fighter with at least 1 wound token and an adjacent fighter. The enemy fighter suffers 1 damage. So it's almost like sidestep or whichever one it is where you switch adjacent fighters and you just deal damage. Teamwork. It's a reaction. Play this card during a friendly fighter's attack before rolling any dice. Push another friendly fighter X. So give you that support that you just might need right there. So there's our big 10 ploys, universal ploys. Majority of them being really good, and I could see them getting worked into a few decks here in the near future. Upgrade time. Tethered Spirit in the mirror. Reaction during an attack action or ploy that takes this fighter out of action. Roll a defense dice. If you roll a shield or a crit, place them on any starting hex in your territory. Ignore the damage and discard this upgrade. If you do not, they're taken out of action. So, almost like, ah shoot, what was that one upgrade where you basically get the same thing, but they stay where they are, and it's actually the same roll. Now, not only do you get them, ignore the damage, but you also get to place them on any starting hex in your territory. Huh. Alright, I like that. It's different, but it's definitely got play. It's got merit. Warcry. When this fighter makes a charge action, attack action gains knockback 1 for that activation. Remember, that would technically knock them back 2 because knockback 1 is the addition. Alright, I could see that seeing some play. Deathly Fortitude, -2 move, +2 wounds. That would help out a lot of people. Not too shabby. Unparalleled Strike. I like this one. We talked about it in a Farstrider video. Rolls of hammer are considered to be rolls of crits for this attack action. Remember, there's stuff that, hey, if you roll a crit next turn, you get double damage. So theoretically, if you played that ploy in the previous power step, and now it's your activation, you roll a hammer is a crit, you would get double damage. This could go for 4 damage right there. Very cool. The last key, I think it is, if you're holding objective. Oh, these aren't the last key. This isn't a 2 glory point. This is unassigned. If you're just holding an objective, you gain a glory point. So it's an upgrade for a free glory. I like that. Another piece of the Cataphragm Exodia right there. I believe it reads the same. Didn't really pay attention to it, but I'm sure a lot of people were waiting on the other ones to drop. Trusted Defender. You can reroll 1 defense dice for this fighter when they are the target of an attack action. Rerolls are always good. Dark Darts. I like it. Range 3. Does 3 damage. More importantly, it has cleave and doesn't go away. Back with it. Or even if you're successful. Shade Glass Dagger. This one does go away once you're successful. I don't like these, but on a crit, the attack has +1 damage, and it does 3 damage if you do manage to get through. So it's a can of whoop ass if you roll a crit, but it's kind of like a paper tiger in regards to that. So I don't know. I don't feel it. Ghostblade, another one I'm not exactly feeling. When rolling defense dice, only rolls of crit are successes for the target of this attack action. This attack action can never cause more than 1 damage to the target. So specifically says for things, you know, that we've already covered, it does double damage on crits. However, it just seems like it's just always going to do a damage for the most part. If you have some rerolls, you're probably going to get it through. It's always going to do a damage at 1 in 6 chance they save it. So it's good for just kind of sticking and just getting your damage, but I don't know if it's worth a slot in your 20 cards, your 20 power cards, but we'll see. I don't know. Maybe it's a good cantrip. Accept Inevitability, Mr. Anderson. Score this in the 3rd phase if all your fighters are out of action. Great cantrip card to kind of draw into if you don't have anything else to do with your activations because all your dudes are dead. Remember, you still get your activations till the game is over. So you draw that, hey, got a glory. Score this in the end phase if a surviving friendly fighter has 3 or more upgrades. I can't tell you how many times I've ended with one dude left with like 4 upgrades on it, because why not? Seems pretty handy. Heroic feat. Score this immediately if a friendly fighter's attack action succeeds when the target has 2 or more supporting fighters. 2 or more supporting fighters more than the attacker. Wow. Okay, so that could be a lot of different scenarios right there. I misread that the first time. Situational, but I like it. Killing Ground. Score this in an end phase if at least one fighter was taken out of action in the preceding action phase in enemy territory, in your territory, and in no one's territory. So those, you know, strips across the middle of the board, depending on how you set it up. Very situational, but could be rewarding if you set it up right. Massive Assault. Score this immediately if your fighters deal 7 or more damage in the action phase, damage in excess of the fighter's wounds characteristic. Master Stroke. Score this immediately if an enemy fighter is taken out of action by an attack action made as a reaction by your warband, or a reaction made by your warband that causes damage. Well, the rats have plenty of those, that's for sure. Free cantrip objective for 1 glory. Very cool. Multiple fronts. Score this in an end phase if your warband dealt damage to 3 or more enemy fighters the preceding action phase. I could see where that could be good for some folks. Poised to Strike. Score this in an end phase if at least 3 enemy friendly fighters are adjacent to the same enemy fighter. Harder to do, I feel like, unless you are perhaps, you know, a bully. I don't know. That one's tough, but it's doable for some warbands. Pure Carnage. Score this in the 3rd end phase if 7 or more fighters are out of action. Well, that's the whole tally of fighters in a lot of games, but I don't know. War of Attrition. Score this in an end phase if the same number of fighters, if one from warband, are taken out of action. I could see that going off in the first couple of turns. Maybe later. I don't know. Once the game gets going, though, I don't feel like you're gonna play in this card a lot. Victory after victory. Never relent. Never allow your enemy to recover in an end phase. Never give up. Never surrender. Basically, if you score 3 or more objective cards in this round, you get 2 glory right there. Alright, well, I see objectives coming back because there's 2 solid cards in both of these expansions that are very similar to Supremacy that could easily net you 2 glory if you pull them both off in any kind of combinations. I'm really liking that. Man, a lot of cool cards. Some of them will see play, some of them won't. But I'm stoked so far. No, it doesn't seem to be any like losers, just like, I probably wouldn't play that one. That's pretty much it there. So this was our second video where we actually broke down the tactics, kind of talked about a little bit of things. We've been getting a lot of games in here, so if you like these sort of, you know, kind of tips and tactics videos along with our unboxing and build, maybe we'll do more. Maybe we'll break down some decks, give you our picks, or top must-have cards for whatever. Show you some storage options for some of the bags out there for Shadespire, you know, that you can fit all your stuff in, and the boards and everything like that. But that is it for this one. Work out those hobby muscles, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you can be the very first to like and comment on all our videos.
Deleted scenes, bonus content, and all the interviews and post-game wrap-up videos can be located in the Hall of Veterans on thelongwar.net. Visit thelongwar.net today and try a week completely free with no strings attached. That's not all. Thelongwar.net is also your hobby resource for exclusive early access with an ad-free experience to all your favorite videos. Members of the Hall of Veterans gain early exclusive access to multiple hobby videos.